From this morning, in the session. Did you get to listen to all of them this morning?
No,
No.
no,
Yeah.
no.
I thought Will Reynolds from Sear. I mean, he's a thought leader. I was in long ago, 2018 or 19. My brain doesn't even compute back then. The stage at Content Marketing World. And one of the speakers on the stage that day. And, that was talking about, the keyword lists to really refined plans. And I thought that today's was a similar approach. It was, you've got the world, any word, then you've got the stuff that you are ranking for, you've got the stuff that your competitors are ranking for. How do you go from that to the we should write? And my real takeaway is, wow, what MarketMuse built is a way to do that very fast. And he's competitive over. And if you have a competitive inventory, bring your inventory. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, if you're here, the MarketMuse content inventory or page inventory, you can bring in keyword lists from your competitors in process. So you've got, we call it a topic universe generation. You can bring your own keyword list, BYOK. We'll read your site and extract all the words, look at everything you're ranking for. But you can also competitors list in. And so we take all those words and then tell you how well you're doing. So a great step to Will, I thought, was, a word he would want to find based on looking at a page type. Well, if you were to know MarketMuse personalized difficulty for that word, you know how much content you need to create. So basically, he was talking about, are we going to be able to invest in this? Would this be a great individual page? But I'm combining that with, would one page actually be successful? Or do I need a cluster of content? I mean, that was like the next step to that session. So if you're watching this or you're watching the replay, go look at Will's, the recording when it publishes. I think the replays are coming out a day late. I think that if you look at Aleda Solis's session and combine it with Will's session, it was like the manual process to get to a prioritized plan. Inspiring. It really shows that what we're doing fast tracks a lot of those processes and provides more. What Will's describing is the why for your content plan. Right? In Will's case, he's selling it to a client. The why and do a business justification. Right. You might be where or you might have carte blanche, but you have a budget. Two scenarios. I think that, from my take, it was very inspiring because it's like, how do I buy and potentially in a situation where I'm advocating for a client to spend more or less money on content. I don't know if you're because you didn't get to see Will's, but did you see Aleda's? Yeah, those.
I don't remember. I honestly, I haven't heard of any of the speakers at all that are part of the. In terms of LinkedIn, I'm quite. Not in sort of like on this, I would say I'm relatively new, like on this sort of like scale, like, with sort of how, push it. I would say relatively to it and in that sense. So for me, it's sort of like this, there's still a lot.
You're in the fire, man.
What's that? Sorry.
You were prior.
Yeah, exactly. But I like it. It's definitely the importance of content, but I think now I'm realizing just sort of how past and sort of the ways that you can construct different parts. It's just, it's really cool. The way that Google is changing, I think it's with content.
I was very excited to see SEMrush release the top 100 content marketing influencers. And they did it as a grid format. If you go to look at their Twitter and Digital Olympus, I think, for that, the top row, I think 3 of the top row,
really?
Yeah, Robert Rose, Joe Pulizzi, and Andy Crestodina. I'm gonna say did that. Jenny. All right, cool. When you have a moment, when we stop jabbering on about COVID, I have a question. Here, please ask questions. We are reorganizing pretty big content. Do you have advice for making this bite-sized? There's some questions we'd have to ask, right? So, what is you don't have to name the specific keywords, but or the specifics. What is it currently today a long form guide? Is it a category page that does well? So how would you drive it? That's going to go into the repurpose that you put into place. The theory of repurposing is, and Billy, you can put this one in your pocket. Category pages. I kind of had a guess that would be pages. So the theory is basically, if I've got a page, it has one purpose. It typically doesn't have two purposes. It has one purpose. If I have one page getting too much traffic, or it's getting traffic for things that don't connect with that page goal, get more ways in, always want to get more ways in, and I might want to create other pages that better represent those other intents. Best example, I love Aftershock. They're now called Shocks. They dropped the after. SAZ, I think. They are bone headphones, right? Let's say I've got a page that is bone conduction headphones guide. And let's then bone conductive headphones. Let's just say it starts ranking for what is a bone conductive headphone. Danger might come later. Very, very flux for ranking for that what is or awareness phase term. I might be susceptible to competitive risks. So what do I do in that scenario? I don't want to hurt that page, but I don't want to put myself at risk by not actually servicing that early stage awareness or information journey intent. So I can build an on the nose early stage awareness. I want to build a component knowing that it's part of the journey here. In all scenarios, that's concept one. Concept two of repurposing or trimming is to say, if I do something and spend a lot of money on it, I want to make sure I've got as many entry points in to that page. If I record this webinar with Billy, right? It's a payload. If it's a white paper, if it's a video, a YouTube video, for example, Jenny, to make as many pages as I want that are different, where the call to action gets them to watch the video. So it's a one-to-many relationship. A footnote to that would be, I optimize books for authors where I have 1,000-page book. I can turn that into way more than 1,000-page website. Just one book. So the answer isn't book. And that's what you see in the market. I can have a page that says, hey, this is a really great page for brewers as well as jewelry owners, right? If that's appropriate. So why is this a great book to read for a brewer? Why is this a great book to read for someone who creates jewelry, right? What's the value that is for their industry? Now I can actually break it down page by page, section by section, and deliver the value of that section, deliver the value of a page as a page. Make sure that journey makes sense and promoting that book. The same concept can apply to a YouTube video, a webinar replay, etc. So you're in this scenario where making this bite-sized may mean making it lots of things that build a hive of power for it. And that's where you're likely the direction you would head. Category page. The category page can manifest as many things. I'll explain the maturity model for category pages. Ooh, this could turn into a blog post, Billy. The maturity model for e-commerce category pages is somewhere. I've written like an ebook on it, which is kind of funny and meta. So it is, I have an e-commerce site. I have things I sell. Let's call them coffee cups today. Green coffee cup that says Savannah, Georgia on it, right? Coffee cups, I've got green coffee cups, right? I create a page for coffee cups. I create a category page that's a slicer for green coffee cups and blue coffee cups, right? And that's all susceptible to a lot of problems, right? The page doesn't have any unique value. You may get some presence with specific terms if you have enough off-page power or brand authority on that. But it's highly likely that you won't. If you're Home Depot, for example, your slicer page, your permutation page, which might be coffee cups that are green, may, for some long tail, be able to perform. But if you're Billy's hardware store, expect each provider to do. First thing they learned long ago, blurbs, category blurbs. What's a category blurb? It's the first level of maturity for a category blurb is describing the thing that's being shown. Coffee cups are great. You can drink out of them. You can put dark coffee, light coffee, medium coffee in them. Sometimes they break. Sometimes they have big circles on the top opening. Sometimes they have small ones. Some of them are thermal compact. Some of them aren't, right? We've all written those crappy category blurbs before. That's the next stage of maturity. Now what happens? You start thinking, ooh, well, great of a piece of blurb. Maybe let's put that blurb at the bottom of the page so no one sees it, but it's good for SEO, so let's do it. Bad idea. Same phase. I'm going to make sure this stuff links to other pages if I reference it. So I might go, hey, I have coffee cups that are blue, green, red, orange, yellow, rainbow. And then I link blue, green, yellow, orange, rainbow to my yellow slicer pages. Right? When I say slicer, I'm thinking in like terms of data analysis. Like a slicer is like a filter. If you love Excel like I do, a slicer too, you can slice data very quickly in a pivot table or something. Slicers, maybe we should have a discussion.
Yeah, I'm not a spreadsheet. I'm not a spreadsheet king. No, that Roy's fond of them. Roy's fond.
He mentioned is on our professional services and sales. A slicer or a permutation category page that doesn't have a unique is susceptible to what's called shingling. Like not shingles the disease. Shingling is a topic, which means I have two pages that are very equivalent, right? But they are shuffled the same clumps of pages. I'll give you the example. Let's say I created a cool coffee cup page, and then I just had fun coffee cups. And they have the same coffee cups on it. I just shuffled them up. You can't do that for SEO. In 2004, you could. Marked to shingling by e-commerce providers, and they put a stop to it. They can detect those things. The reason why it's called shingling, if you think of a roof and it has shingles,
yeah,
you can shuffle up the shingles in any way you want, but it provides the same net value. You can go look at information retrieval term, spelled like it sounds, and that. And so how did, and this is a long way of saying the mature was to then put a unique blurb of content on each of the shingles. See where I'm going with that? So now, blue coffee cups are great because they remind me of the sky and the sea and the ocean. And people that like blue coffee cups often have big, great days and great morning. Okay, so I'm writing stuff like that to differentiate the blue coffee cup page. Okay, got to get better than that. So then took another journey. People started writing blogs and content at e-commerce companies. They were still siloed. Why were they siloed? They were siloed because people are afraid of putting content on those category pages. That is part of the buyer journey. So they would have the blog over here, and then they'd have the category pages over here, and the category pages had SEO blurbs or category blurbs. That's another level of maturity. It's good, but because you're driving traffic for the actual buyer journey. But the catch is they weren't talking to one another because people were afraid. I don't want to put this big chunk of text above the category page. It might make people not buy. See, Jenny? I know what I'm talking about. I've been through this journey with so many people. This is the stage that we're in right now. Okay. So it's because the left hand isn't talking to the right hand inside the organization. The next tier then, so by the way, this is the largest e-commerce companies in the world are at this stage, many of them, because they have different goals with content. So the CRO, conversion rate optimization professionals, the monetization professionals are, this category page is money, makes all the money, don't touch it. So the missed opportunity there is that we're not showing the prospect a showcase of all the content that we have on this topic and giving them access to it. It's why e-commerce can be better than probably not a physical shopping. You can go look for what might be the right word, but it's a super weird word. The experience. if I don't know what to buy and I'm in a store, this is super meta. What's the way that I might buy? I might go to a website and look at text comparison, right? I'm in a physical shop, but it might not come from the provider that I'm in. I might also speak with the sales rep, depending on the type of, what's the information that sales rep in a consultative sale is providing. It's to showcase that they actually know what they're talking about. They understand the buyer journey. They understand me. They understand that journey. So when an e-commerce provider does not provide a showcase of that, their understanding of the buyer journey, that person that actually buys, the only one that buys is far later stage in the funnel to actually then buy. So the thing that the CRO or the monetization specialist is afraid of is disruption of the late stage buyer, because the middle stage buyer doesn't buy. By stage, the early stage buyer certainly doesn't buy. I'm going to go buy a car via e-commerce purchase. Going to buy the car is super late in the funnel, and they're going to have research experiences somewhere else if I don't provide them. Find to the rest of the stuff that I've done on my site, but they likely won't if I have the fundamental thought that the e-commerce pages on my site are a trapdoor. They are blocked off. Don't show access to the blog. It might distract them. Don't show the content. Put the thing, right? So what I'm cutting off the ability for someone to be part of a buyer journey with me if I have a limited content experience. Now, are you staying with me, Jenny? Making sense? Okay. So now the next phase is realizing that my category pages are my opportunity to showcase that I know them, that I have expertise. But how do I do that creatively such that it doesn't distract for late stage buyers? A couple ways I can do that. One is with personalization, looking at their behavior on the site to try to discern whether they are super late stage, whether they are likely not to desire to consume my buyer journey content. One path. The other one is to treat that page like a showcase with wayfinding opportunities where they can click to get to where they can select to enter buyer journey influence content, right? House that content on other pages. It is easy to assume that they know where to find the content they want on our page. Exactly right. It's easy to, it's one of those things. I worked with a music instruments store that had this, they were the same stage of the journey. Walk to the right hand with content. Their site, they got millions of visits. None of that content was linked to from the category pages. The category pages had 300 web was what the CMS allowed. And it was like, you couldn't even get to the stuff. It was, I mean, there was a community of professionals, experts, instructors that was thriving on this other hub, and it was completely siloed. So we worked in showcase that they actually know, what's the difference? Reeded clarinet and a double clarinet. That's not a real question, but not a reverb. Can't say what it is. So the so they the way they interwove those things together successfully was to make a portion of their pages a showcase of their expertise. In their case, they tested through A/B multivariate testing. At the time, they used A/B multivariate test tool X. I'm not gonna. I'm pretty wisely. That was what I recommended. I had won the Optimizely Opti award. Yes, it was definitely Optimizely per advances. But then they A/B multivariate tested whether it had an impact on sales, capabilities at the time. It used buyer intent, etc. But they tested, and there was a negative impact on overall after having this experience for a small period of time, the circulation of humans, their overall performance was dramatically improved. So I always recommend personalization is ideal, and I'll explain that. But also A/B multivariate testing, where to put it. What I don't recommend is you relegating it below the fold, because it misses the point. The point is that if someone really doesn't know what to do and they are in the buyer journey, not being able to access that content hurts your ability to sell to them. It also exhibits that you don't have the expertise right front and center, and that's not the best you can do. And that's what that's what you figure out. What I love to see is access points for the knowledge, where people are anchoring below the products. I've seen people point out with an open-in new window. I've seen a lot of experiences where you can get people to those places very, very easily. If you guys, some of the things you want to look for that are in this user's session right now. Have they looked at other category pages? Have they looked at other long form pages or mid form pages or buyer journey pages in this session? If they have had those experiences in this session, remove prominent those buyer journey, change the way it's previewed to keep them in that buyer mode. If it was 7 years ago, 5 years ago, when I'm the example that's what I would have put front and center for them. Would have the user is close to the purchase, the less intrusive I want my showcase of expertise. However, the majority of your users are not in that purchase action state, and the buyer journey content is extremely important for you to build a rapport and push them through that journey. That's my super long answer to your question, but that's likely where you're at.
You need to get a podcast going, man. You need to start your own podcast. I could sit and listen to you talk.
I do, man. I've done 100 recordings.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, man. For sure. Yeah, our webinar series is
MarketMuse.
Yeah, MarketMuse webinars. Yeah, but I'd probably do 100. I probably did 100 last year.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So, been a while. I love this topic. I also love that Jenny works on, so I want to help them as much as around the air. It helps. Yeah, I love some videos. Specific value prop, video pieces, and but videos say you know what to hit that 1 in 10. So like dynamic snippets to product and category pages. Yeah, exactly. Now, understanding how people get to your category pages, if they are landing pages or they're mostly through wayfinding or clicks, your approach differs. Major, who had this challenge. They're not, I can't really say who, but first, right? Number one, let's just say in Google for pressure washers, lots of clicks. What do you do? That's the challenge. So Billy, what do you do? Your category page is number one for pressure washers. It fluxes all the time. Google is fluxing it all the time. What do you do? That's the challenge most e-commerce companies have. They have these sacred pages, category pages that do well, and they're super afraid to touch them. They don't know what to do. It's like, what do you think?
I'll be back in 2. I'll answer the question. I've just got a delivery guy here. Look.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no problem.
I'll go sign for it real quick.
But that's the main challenge of do get a head term or a non-explicit intent. How does Billy make his room go black? Just turn off all the lights. It's pretty amazing. Way to perform for something that's not on the intent. And that to me is one of the more exciting opportunities, but it scares a lot of teams. It's the content teams. It's, I have one ranking page for, I am the number one page that's ranking for, green chairs. What do I do? I don't know what to do. And so that to the problems that are faced by e-com. It's you don't what the So recommendation in those situations is to think about, is this an entry page? If it's a look at, work, are they new customers? Are they return customers? Who clicks? I typically don't identifiable information on who clicks. So I want to do, are they new users? Is this a recurring user? How many pages were in their session? Revenue. And I want to look at that en masse to be able to make great decisions. So let's say with this page, but the people who enter on this page don't actually buy. But I do sell a lot of stuff via that page from wayfinding. That's very common. They'll land on this page, then they do other stuff, and then they buy. Where it's the same thing with affiliate, where they landed here on the page, they wayfind through the site, and then they click on the money producing link on page 2 or 3 of the journey, or did they click on it on page 1 of the journey? Did they convert through a lead form on the page, or on step 2 or 3? Really need to know that to be able to answer the question. From a content perspective, though, the least heartache is to really have the content throughout the buyer journey, whether you're selling stocks, feeds, or $50,000 software packages at your disposal, because it's going to raise all boats and make sure that it's showcased. The fact that have to know about beadwork, right? About making kits and jewelry. The system understands that I'm doing a technique 4251 at some point, and I have a page for that. Trust there is important, and that is like that. I guess that there's actually like a serpentine class. I don't even know. And so when you get a scenario, it is this is like how to e-commerce. What I'm talking about. E-commerce teams, whether you're Home Depot, to do it well, overcome the system. Look at a team that has done it over time, and look at their journey. Look at Chewy. Nothing to Chewy, animal. This is astounding. And you look at the cool thing in e-com is if you're where your direct competitor is a siloed blog, they can only go so far. So you can targeted plans, very effective. A lot of if somebody's doing it really well. So they have a natural, if you can detect that they operate the blog over here and the e-com part over here. There's only a go, and it's a ability where you had a category page. Let's say blog, right? Let's call it coffee cup or page. It's a category that has a blurb on it, like I was just describing. It's 40% of your revenue. This is a fun front. 40% of your revenue is on this category page, but it has no. It's fluxing in and out of rankings. You're kind of afraid. What do you do? That's the tough question.
I mean, what you're talking about, trying to put your potential buyers in order to sort of a journey. You're trying to put relevant content in front of them so they're staying on your site. They're not going elsewhere. They can, if there's any sort of questions or things that are babbling around in their mind, they can find all the information that they want before they're going to make a purchase on your site. So I think it's sort of setting that page up with really, like, although you said you don't have a blog or something like that. I mean, like for me, the really sexy side that I saw was Low and Niche. And my God, these guys had done an awesome, I had never seen anything like it. And they'd had category page, and obviously over in the UK, they're not so big here, but you've got there's loads of different types of leaf blowers, I believe. There's gas leaf blowers and stuff like that. But for gas leaf blower, they had the category page, and they would have a video on there. and then they had sort of reviews on also, and then they had guides for people for like specific leaf blowers within that category. And then they had sort of things like for a budget option as well. All on that page was all around if someone was landing on there for a leaf blower, say if they didn't want to pay X amount of price, they had something for them. They were like, okay, well, you don't want to pay the price range. Here's our budget range. And so they'd send them over to that place. And then it was just like, oh, is this the right leaf blower for me? And they had a load of videos whether or not this was going to be the one for them. I had never seen anything so sexy. It was just it looked like the ultimate converting site with how much stuff that they put onto their page to sort of person on their site. There would be no need for that person to go anywhere else. If they were looking for a leaf blower, they had everything that they wanted on that page. Just sort of, it was nice. I'd have to find the, I'll dig the link after this. It was really, I'd love to hear your take on it.
You just described the model, the final part of the model.
Is that it? Yeah.
But this is what it brings to you, and you described it, is the bidirectional reality of the end stage of this model, which is all your pages can showcase products, and all your pages can showcase products the same way a category page can. And all your category pages and product pages can showcase buyer journey experiences. That's the end of the model. So when I'm on and they might not have done this, but if I'm on this page just saying, buyer journey of a, here's a great example, and it's specific for you, Jenny. Experience, and the reading experience mentions a technique or a exactly the name of these things, but tennis bracelet, right? Making one's tennis bracelet. So I'm mentioning, or there's names of these. Tennis bracelets are mentioned. Well, there's a hoot about that. So I can have a representation of my most likely ideal products to buy prominent in that. It can be woven in elegantly in line. It can be on top. It can be on bottom. It can be on side because it's not intrusive. Small space Penelope necklace bracelet. There you go. I know a lot of these. I looked at most of these pages. Your code bounce. They're good folks. So experience of that. So if I'm in a leaf blower, right? I'm base leaf blowers. I don't even know if that's real or like industrial. If I'm in that, well, I should be featuring those products prominently in that journey and woven in. Well, now my category page would have that kind of flip justification. Give someone the option to enter that buyer journey experience. You got to know if they're leaving a lot too. Because why are they leaving? Are they leaving because they were in the middle of the buyer journey and then they all of a sudden said, I've had it. I'm not buying the leaf blower anymore. I'm not going to go look for reviews somewhere else. They're leaving to go answer a question that you didn't answer. I'm looking at your site search is a great source of inspiration for this too. The site search on your site represents questions people have that they can't find in Wayfind value. So if you have site search queries, or pages you need to create, and that's a hot tip number 9 from this session. If they Penelope necklace bracelet, you can't find them. They can't find that naturally. So you may want to feature it for certain users. A couple of things. So yeah, I mean, you look at this, it's like we're talking about this site. So I've got my video is prominent. That video is 29 minutes. All right. It has a right angle weave, a diagonal stitch. It includes these products. It shows the products, more videos with categories, or more like gift subscription boxes, which is probably a feature there. The challenge on this page is the expertise. You showcase the products in use. I may want a Penelope necklace, but I don't know what a right angle weave or a diagonal stitch is, or whether I can do it. There's a use case. I don't know. I may So what are the things people might want to know that encounter this page? Deep from an agnostic, non-expert's point of view, to understand the use cases that we're solving that we here. I'm really breaking it down. I'm a non-expert. I am not in your target market. I'm gonna guess that there's a general process you go through every time you make a bracelet. Probably clasp, bracelet, finishing. Guessing. Yeah, I'm a pro now. And what's special about what so fun that when you're not an expert topic. Cool insights that Ali mentions on this video. Like, you have to take the expert information extraction. Billy and I have, I've been monopolized this time, but yeah, I know you're not feeling that great. I know you're not feeling that great, Billy.
Yeah, no, it's been, yeah,
I'm a confident company. Feeling wonderful. Billy's,
I've Married share the link in.
Yeah, please share it. Yeah,
take a look at it. It was it looks at product pages, but that product pages are I think really impressive.
Cool.
But yeah, have a look over it and let me know what you think of that.
So what I love about this is, see, there's something special about this page. I wonder if I can share my screen easily. Hold on. They're doing pseudo personalization.
So really nice, huh?
So let me just go into the matrix. Can you see? So key here is they're doing what I was talking about. This is a product page.
Yeah.
If someone's coming to this product page and they're in the buying journey, watch. They are not likely to scroll. No intrusion. If I'm coming down here, I might be out of that bottom of the funnel. What's now introduced to me? Still the opportunity to buy, but they've got more stuff you might want to know. So this buyer experience, it gets introduced to the user when they're exhibiting signals that they aren't in the bottom of the funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Now that remains with me. And I actually walk through the journey on one page of those facets. So what I was describing, elements of it, they do. Elements of it, they don't. But explicit use case was shown. They go brand to model. Let's just check out a category page.
Yeah, I don't think their category pages are all that great. I had it mixed up. Their product either.
So this is their category. Yeah. So we got a category page. I do have a showcase for a common facets. If I landed here, I would not automatically know that Lead Flowers Direct was going to be a consultative buyer journey experience provider.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing right now. In my experience, I come in, I'm scrolling, I would still feel like I need to find that somewhere else. So their journey here. So they've got, you may be in the market for a lawn sweeper because you have a large yard with lots of trees. That is the blurb. Right. So I want that journey. I want elements of it. I want to show them my expertise here. I would even be thinking about when someone's scrolling past a certain model, we already know they have the technology providing that. So this is dead space right here.
Yeah.
This bar is really poor use of space for them. That bar to become my buyer exhibition of expertise that I provide here and likely nobody finds.
It's a shame, right? Because the actual product pages themselves are really nice.
Really good.
Really nice.
And it doesn't integrate site, no link. So they have a path. They built this great buyer experience, but are people getting there? So yeah, I think you nailed it. I love that one nuance of the product page though, where I am trapped. I'm in the buyer space. Stock management, add to cart. That's a whole different discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But but I love it when I show the signal, boom, that I might not be ready to buy. I get more experience. So yeah, I love that. I mean, that's a really cool model. Use that experience, but yeah, that's a really great example, Billy, because it showed both sides of the coin where they kind of got the one thing. What that is, and I'm just going to tell you, I can get, and I haven't done the audit for them, but that usually exhibits that they have a heavy amount of paid, and they're buying to those product landing pages.
Okay,
that's one. It also exhibits that they probably lean heavily on their product feed with Google product search.
Okay.
Because they've spent a ton of time on this and not a ton of time on that. So we can, that's what my guess, if I were going into a call with them, you should reach out, get them on the phone. Like where they're getting their money and where they're getting their traffic right now. Highly low situation is where they, their bread and butter is sending people to those product pages. Let's have this as our final thing. So everybody click along. We're going to type in 50 SWP26 into Google. Gonna see Ohio Steel is number one with their product page. It is outperforming Amazon.
Really?
That's what we expect. Let's see where this percent is performing. Okay, so what I think is the case is they are a subdivision of Mowers Direct.
Okay.
Direct site in this case is everything I just described. Yeah, it is. They're the same company. So Mowers Direct,
the same guy on there.
So check out this page as it validates what we just said. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do you think they're putting their money? Product ads, right? They have, there we are here, product page. And that's their butter is likely coming through direct linking.
Still product page just set up for converting.
Oh yeah, those are beautiful.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they're beautiful. So here you go. So that's that one last step. They're doing a really great job. Look at this. That's my expertise. So they have like 2/3 of money covered. This was a beautiful example, Billy.
It's a thumbs up from Jeff.
They've got so close to finishing. And the someone's siloed. They're probably a little siloed. They're probably heading on Google product feed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all about. You can see it in the designs. Where somebody else. Cool. Well, this was the super deep dive into e-commerce SEO. Billy monopolized time, but hopefully it's saved your voice.
I appreciate it. And I enjoy listening, to be honest, as well. It's like there's a lot of stuff there that I haven't heard before. So it's especially because I was thinking of sort of starting a little site as well. So the information that you gave was valuable. So
right on. Yeah. I mean, what is it you want, no matter what the organization, why do you want them answering that question on Stack Exchange or on Quora? If it's part of the buyer journey for them to buy the thing you sell. If you question and you know the answer, you should be the one answering it.
That's right.
If it's and there's no justification for you to not. Afraid of, a question related to something breaking. Think about for leaf blowers direct. Think about all the questions someone has when they're a leaf blower owner, or at least chart the blades. I don't know if this is true. Can I replace the seat?
Yeah.
Just do. Breaks. What do I do? But it's a pleasure. And thanks for joining us, everyone. And Billy, it's been fun as always.
Thank you.
Tell Strategy Collective Live. Ask us anything, or just let us talk about e-commerce. See you later. Bye.